Right, so the Tories and environmentalism, two words that go together about as well as the rich and paying tax. In another bit of news buried just prior to Christmas, like so much of it would seem that Rishi Sunak's bunch of shysters have given the nod to flooding our rivers, seas and lakes with floaters with ever greater impunity, having announced a clean-up date of 2063. Perhaps they should consider changing their name to the Consewertives with the election tagline, "Build bacteria better." Perhaps we shouldn't be too surprised, since Sunak, in his infinite lack of wisdom, put Therese Coffey, the political equivalent of a Monday morning, in charge of the environment. It's not Coffey's first stint at DEFRA, you might be interested to know. In fact, she's a bit of an expert when it comes to stinking up waterways, as she was the Minister of State for Environment and Rural Opportunity from 2016 to 2019. And part of that remit was a responsibility over our waterways. Now, according to a Freedom of Information request sent to the Environment Agency, it has been deduced that Coffey, in her role of responsibility for our water all the way back then, oversaw some 321 years' worth of sewage discharges into our rivers in just 3 years. That's the equivalent of one sewage discharge every 4 minutes, folks, for 3 years. Perhaps she, I don't know, lacks a sense of smell. Quite honestly, given her track records at the DWP and at Health, I think it's more a case of wanting the ministerial pay packet, but not giving a stuff about doing the actual job, or actually giving a damn about what she's been put in charge of. Her stint overseeing water saw sewage discharges double from the time of her predecessor, who was one Rory Stewart, the centrist fan favourite these days. But Coffey also slashed the Environment Protection Aid grant by a third, some £24 million. Honestly, she'd be out of her depth in a birdbath, but she'd almost certainly take a dump in one of those too. Of course, it's become big news this year that the government have given the nod to more legal dumping of sewage into our waters. Another one of those Brexit bonuses, as another piece of EU legislation got ditched on water quality. But of course, as this has shown, they've been doing it for years. Just over Christmas, the only two designated English bathing spots in Oxford and in Ilkley in Yorkshire were both hit by sewage discharges. Did you see that reported? Of course you didn't. So really, it comes as no surprise whatsoever that now she's running the entire Environment Department, and she's pushed back cleaning up what is in no insignificant part a mess of her own making by 36 bloody years. It was supposed to be the case that 75% of our waterways reach good ecological status by 2027. Right now, there is not one single beach, river, lake or estuary in the entire country that is in good environmental health. Every single stretch of coastline and body of water has been polluted by sewage discharges. It's become such a state under Sunak and Co.'s ecological mismanagement, they now can't possibly meet their original target. But pushing it back by 36 years shows no serious intent on tackling it now either. Throw in these hotter years with less water to go around, as we saw last year, and all of this becomes a more concentrated, noxious mess, because things are only getting hotter as time is going on. You can't bathe anywhere without risking getting ill anymore. If you fancy going fishing, what are you going to catch? Sewer salmon? Toilet trout? Bugger old bream, perhaps? Maybe you'll be taking out a tasty turd-enriched tench for tea. That'll put hairs on your chest. Fish Friday won't look quite the same to you now, will it, folks? Oh, Damo, you filthy man. Anyway, the Tories are throwing some £5.3 billion at this problem over the next 5 years to do what, frankly, when they're saying many of us won't see clean rivers and beaches again in our lifetimes. And the Environment Agency is saying if things don't start improving now, by 2043, only 6% of our waterways will actually be clean. That's 20 years down the line. This isn't fixing the issue. This is writing a check and hoping it'll make the problem go away all by itself. But with people like Therese Coffey in charge, with her track record, how can we possibly believe they'll do anything except keep making this situation even worse?